Welcome to Slash Forward. In this episode, we're going to confirm how fun and freeing it can be to live in a world without other people with the 2009 film Zombieland, just in time to get caught up before the release of the sequel on October 18th. Let's get to it. We open with narration over some scenes of significant destruction, quickly setting the stage for the level of catastrophe. It's foobarred, friends. While building this up, we learn from our faithful narrator that civilization is now at the point where only the strongest have survived, those capable and willing to learn and do whatever it takes to live. We then zoom in on our narrator, Columbus, replenishing his vehicle at the local petrol station. 2 months after patient zero, he reveals his degree of aliveness can be attributed less to physical capability and more to his being a pragmatic loner. He demonstrates this by employing his various rules, starting with calmly leading the zombies in circles until he can safely enter his car, showing his evasive proficiency. Having been wary of the bathrooms and having put on a clinic with his cardio, he then whips through the seatbelt and double tap rules, and then he's on his way. His primary focus currently is finding a way to get home to Columbus, Ohio. Along the way, he runs into Tallahassee. After taking a moment to sniff each other's buttholes, they pair up, at least momentarily until their paths diverge. We find that Tallahassee is taking this whole thing one day at a time, choosing to focus on living and the pleasure of the little things like finding Twinkies. They have a good prospect, but fate shits in their faces when they open a truck full of snowballs, a mediocre confection made worse by being sprinkled with coconut, the devil's dandruff. In a brief backstory flashback, we find that Tallahassee is alive thanks to his pure badassery, while Columbus survived the initial waves due to his crippling loneliness and paranoia. He was inside alone during the unfolding apocalypse, only alerted when his neighbor banged on his door in fright, explaining that a homeless man tried to put his mouth on her. He provides some comfort and she falls asleep as he puts in a tremendous effort to fight down a boner. He then awakes to find that she's turned into a physical manifestation of every one of his phobias. The pair continues on their way, coming across an apt analogy for corporate America, and Columbus takes a moment to get contemplative about the nature of life while she aggressively sucks the marrow. Tallahassee, however, doesn't suffer the same pretensions. At their next Twinkie stop, they take a moment to clear the area before scavenging, and they run across another person, Wichita. She asks for their help, taking them to her sister, Little Rock. They pretend she's been bitten and acquire a gun under the auspice of putting her down, but instead take everything the boys have, or had. However, they manage to find a new vehicle in short order, and it comes fully loaded. Now the new daily focus is vengeance. Luckily, it doesn't take them long to come across their old vehicle. They approach cautiously, suspecting another honeypot. Unluckily for them, it doesn't take much to get the drop on Columbus. They manage to work out some of their issues and find common ground. In the course of conversation, it's also revealed that Columbus, Ohio is burned to the ground. Now moreless, it looks like they're all on their way with the girls to Pacific Playland, a rumored Eden in the midst of a garbage fire world. Tallahassee gets restless, so they make a quick stop for team building exercises. Having sowed their wild oats, they then montage their way into California. Since the real estate market is fairly open game, they grab a map to the stars and attempt to search out reasonable lodging, eventually ending up at Bill Murray's mansion. They clear the house and in the process find his private screening room, so Columbus works to bring Little Rock up to speed on her pop culture. Meanwhile, Tallahassee and Wichita get comfortable as well. They're descended upon by Bill Murray, who's actually not a zombie. He's just in disguise.
Suits my lifestyle. You know, I like to get out and do stuff.
They get past introductions and enjoy that West Coast hospitality. Looking to keep the good times rolling, they have Bill sneak up on the others, which ends poorly, bringing Bill Murray's time with us to a close. Eventually, they then spend the night character building, Tallahassee lamenting the death of his tow-headed child, and Columbus getting closer to a girl in defiance of the rules. Luckily, Tallahassee drops in just as his pants are about to explode. Wichita had the same thoughts about the dangers of getting close, and the girls have left by the next morning. They make it to Pacific Playland, lighting it up and attracting every zombie in the tri-state area. The fellas eventually agree to go together to make sure the girls are safe. They'll have to hurry though, because they're having quite a time running, gunning it and bailing, and then searching for a safe space. They manage to make it to high ground, but only periodically. Little Rock shoots the control box, keeping them relatively safe but also stranding them. The boys then show up, and with little time to discuss a plan, Tallahassee creates a distraction to give an opening. Unfortunately, Columbus's path isn't totally clear, and he double spooks himself by leading his pursuers into a haunted house, and eventually being forced to face his biggest fear while Tallahassee continues to find novel solutions to difficult problems. They eventually clear the horde and save the girls, cementing their value as a quartet, and with the toss of a Twinkie, we've managed to conclude their respective character arcs. And that was Zombieland, an excellent horror comedy with one of the best cameos of all time. If you enjoyed the video, I'd love for you to become a part of the channel by subscribing. Thanks for watching.